is Honorable Peter Akpanke. I represent all the people of Obanliku, Bekwara, Obodo Federal Constituency of Cross River State. Mr. Speaker, I have a matter of urgent public importance. May I seek the leave of Mr. Speaker and the Honorable House, standing on Order 8, Rule 4, to permit me to take this matter of urgent public importance on the need to address escalating kidnapping of staff in the University of Calabar staff quarters. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Are you sure that is what is before me? Unless if I have made a mistake of calling your name. The one I have is urgent communal crisis between Inei, Umweri, and Nsube communities of Anambra. Oh, it's the Rock. So sorry, please, Honorable Peter. The one that I should have recognized is the Rock.
Yes.
You know, because he hasn't written. I assume that it is you. So the Rock, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my name is Honorable Peter Anyekwe, representing the good and hard-working people of Anambra East and West. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Anambra State. Mr. Speaker, I stand this morning to seek under Rule 8(4) of our standing rules to bring this matter of urgence of public importance. The communal crisis between Inewi, Umueri, and the Nsube community of Anambra East local government area. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I so move.
Any seconder to the first leg of the motion? Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, my name is Kalejayi Adeboye Paul. I represent the good people of Ajeromi Federal Constituency, Dominion, Nigeria. I am from Lagos State, the state of aquatic splendor. I rise to second the motion, particularly the first leg of the motion moved by my colleague. I so second. Thank you.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. The second leg, the newly appointed chairman of Committee on Public Urgent Matters, please, you have the privilege to second.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker. As the Honorable Chairman of matter of urgent public importance, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you and thank the House for this leadership. Mr. Speaker, Your Excellency, I stand here, Honorable Nnamdi Ezechi is my name, representing Ndokwa and the Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Delta State. I stand here to second the motion ably moved by my brother, Peter the Rock, that the matter is urgent enough to be heard in the floor of the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Peter, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name once again is Honorable Peter Anyekwe, representing the good and hard-working people of Anambra East and West. I am from Anambra State. Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning to raise a motion on the communal crisis between Neyu Mweri and the Nsube communities of Anambra East local government area. The House note that the primary reason of governance is to protect lives and property as enshrined in 99 Constitution as amended. The House also notes that the communal crisis caused by boundary dispute between Umweri and Nsube communities located in Anambra East started in the early hours of yesterday, 22nd day of November 2022, and has resulted in loss of lives and properties, with several people displaced. The House regrets that the brutal crisis has left 2 people dead. Those critically injured has been rushed to the hospital. The House also regrets that the crisis has left some houses burned down and indigents displaced. The House worries that an escalation is imminent if an urgent step is not taken to nip the crisis in the bud. The House then resolved to mandate the Committee on Police Affairs to manage the ongoing crisis and nip it in the bud to avoid further loss of life and destruction of properties. The House also mandates the Committee on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness, as well as the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to, as a matter of urgency, provide relief materials to the victim of the current crisis. The committee are to report to the House within 2 weeks for further legislative action. The House urged the Honorable House to observe a minute silence for others that lost their life, those that lost their life. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? AVM.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues. My name remains Air Vice Marshal Joao, retired, and I represent the good people of Ekiti South Federal Constituency 1. I'm from Ekiti State. I rise this morning to support the motion ably moved by my brother Peter the Rock that urgent attention should be paid to the communal clash in Anambra East. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committees of Police Affairs and NEMA for further legislative actions. Shall we rise for a moment of silence in honor of the deceased? May the soul of the departed rest in peace. Honorable Nolin, please, can you rise and present your motion?
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, Mr. Speaker, I come under Order 8-4 to move a motion on the urgent need for matter of urgent importance, or the need for federal government to grant tax incentives for Nigerian companies to invest into public schools and public hospitals infrastructure development. And also move that we set aside our rules to enable me to take this motion. I so move.
Any seconder to the first leg? Ajili Soro, Honorable.
Thank you, Our Excellency, Mr. Right Honorable Speaker, my leaders and fellow colleagues. My name is Honorable Taufik Abimbola Ajilesoro, a member representing Ife Federal Constituency in Osun State. Mr. Speaker, I'm from the source. I rise to second the motions as heavily moved by my fellow colleagues. I so second.
Those in favor of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. The second leg, the Prince.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, my dear colleagues. My name is Honorable Prince Henry Odianose Okoje. I represent the good people of Asa Northeast and Southeast Federal Constituency. I'm from Edo State, Mr. Speaker. I rise this morning to second the motion ably moved by my brother. I so second. Thank you, sir.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Nole, please proceed with your motion.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, this motion is on urgent need for federal government to grant tax incentives to Nigerian companies to invest into public schools and public hospitals infrastructural development. The House notes, the House recalled that in January 2019, the then President Buhari signed presidential order for road infrastructure development and refurbishment investment tax credit scheme. It notes that the scheme is a form of tax incentives granted to Nigerian companies that engage in the construction and refurbishment of roads designated by the federal government as eligible road infrastructure projects. Also note that the main objective of the scheme is to sensitize and promote private sector funding for road infrastructure projects in a manner that will generate value for money and guarantee participants timely and full recovery of funds provided for the construction of or repair. Further note that in 2021, the then FIRS Coordinating Director Tax Operation Group urged other corporate bodies across the country to join companies like LNG, MTN, and others to take advantage of government credit facilities and certificates for providing road infrastructures. Aware that the burden of bridging the infrastructure gap is too heavy for the federal government to bear alone due to the global economic challenges, with our public schools and public hospitals being at the verge of collapse due to poor infrastructure funding and development. Further aware that provision of good schools and hospitals are the bedrock of societal development and economic growth, leading to reduction in unemployment, social vices, moral decadence, drug abuse, youth restiveness, mortality rates, spread of disease and unhealthy environment. Worried that the current economic instability is impending on government intervention or adequate funding of our public schools and public hospitals, which is cancerous to societal development and may be the fundamental causes of insecurity, medical tourism, school degradation, and incessant migration abroad. Observed that it behoves on government to replicate similar waiver and incentives granted to those companies engaged in the road infrastructure to more private companies for partnership in bridging the infrastructural gap in public schools and public hospitals. Cognizant that when the private companies embark on such infrastructural development of public schools and public hospitals, it will boost their corporate image, especially in economically disadvantaged areas, and will possibly reduce corporate income tax payable in a year of assessment where it has unutilized tax credit. Encourage that this incentive for the aforementioned companies are appreciated by employers and employees, particularly in reducing cost and the bureaucratic bottleneck associated with government procurement processes, and thereby creating an enabling environment for ease of doing business. Resolve to, 1, urge the federal government to consider granting incentives to more companies for engagement in the infrastructure development of public schools and public hospitals under the scheme, which can mitigate the fiscal capability of government and increase its revenue. Further, urge the various ministers of finance, education, and health with FIRS to activate that bureaucratic process for the successful implementation of this incentive by outlining measures and rules of engagement with stakeholders' input and thriving mode of operation. Mandate the Committee on Finance, Education, Health Care Services, Health Institutions, and Legislative Compliance to ensure compliance and report back to the House within 3 weeks for further legislative action. I so moved.
Any seconder? Yes, my dear honorable sister.
morning, sir. Our dear Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. My name is Blessing Chigeramade, representing the good people of Port Harcourt, River State. I hereby stand to second the motion ably moved by my colleague. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committees on Finance, Education, Healthcare Services, Health Institutions, and Legislative Compliance for further legislative action. The next motion is coming from Honorable Ogona Ozoribo. Is he around? Please go ahead.
Thank you, the People's Speaker, respected colleagues. My name is Ugona Oziribo. I'm from Imo State. I represent the great people of Unkwere, Isu, Nwangele, and Njaba Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I come under Order 8-4 to bring a matter of urgent public importance on the urgent need for National Emergency Management Agency to quickly respond to petroleum fire disaster incident at Agbaja in Nwangele local government of Unkwerisu, Njaba Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Any seconder to the first leg? Yes, my honorable sister, go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, Marie Enenimiete Ebikake, representing the good people of Brass Nembe Federal Constituency. I rise to second the first leg of the motion. So, second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. The second leg. Honorable Abdul from Kogi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Abdul Malik Abdul Rahim Danga. I represent Adavi Okehi Federal Constituency. I'm from Kogi State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the second leg of the motion ably moved by my honorable colleague. I so move.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Osby, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my motion is on the urgent need for National Emergency Management Agency to quickly respond to petroleum fire disaster incident at Agbaja in Nwangele local government. The House is aware that it is the core mandate of National Emergency Management Agency to quickly respond to disasters of high magnitude in Nigeria, including disasters that affect lives and livelihood of many Nigerians, especially disasters rising from unforeseen circumstances of flooding, conflict, fire outbreaks, etc. The House is further aware that on Tuesday, 21st November 2023, a tanker conveying petroleum products along Agbaja Olu Road in Imo State failed on the road and caught fire. The conveyed petroleum products spilled on the road and caused heavy fire disaster that burned and consumed residential buildings, shops, farmlands, and source of livelihood of the residents and indigenous of Agbaja community in Nwangele local government of Unkwerisu, Njaba Federal Constituency. The House is worried that greater number of families and individuals in the said Agbaja community are now homeless, stranded, and wandering with no means of livelihood for survival. The destruction done by the fire disaster are colossal, and the magnitude of damage are better seen than imagined. The House knows that it is the duty of this Honorable House as the powers to facilitate succor for Nigerians in need, especially in moments of emergency and unforeseen disasters. Let this Honorable House do move, resolve, that to mandate the National Emergency Management Agency to immediately visit the sites of this fire disaster at Agbaja in Nwangele local government of Imo State to determine the extent of the damages and provide urgent relief to the innocent victims of this fire disaster outbreak. Let the House also resolve to mandate the House Committee on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness to ensure compliance with Resolution 1 above and report back to this Honorable House in 2 weeks. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Any seconder? Honorable David.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I remain Ogel David Agada, member representing Oju Obifera constituency. I'm from Benue State. I rise this morning to second the motion moved by my colleague. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness for further legislative actions. The next motion is coming from Honorable Clement Jimbo. Is Honorable Clement around? Honorable Clement? Not around? Honorable colleagues, the first business of the day is presentation of 30 bills. I now invite the clerk to read their short titles. Honorable Kafilat, good morning. How are you?
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, National Youth Service Corps Act Amendment Bill 2023, first reading. Universal Basic Education Act Amendment Bill 2023, first reading. Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund Act Amendment Bill 2023, first reading. Federal Cancer Research and Treatment Center, Bauchi State Establishment Bill 2023, first reading. Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill 2023, first reading. Federal Colleges of Education Act Amendment Bill 2023, first reading. Public Officers Protection Act Amendment Bill 2023, first reading. Hire Purchase Act Repeal and Enactment Bill 2023, first reading. Army Color Prohibition of Use Act Amendment Bill 2023, first reading. Elite Sheriffs Corps Establishment Bill 2023, first reading. Compulsory Teaching of French Language in Primary, Secondary, and Tertiary Institutions in Nigeria Bill 2023, first reading. National Flood Management Establishment Bill 2023, first reading. Nigeria Police Force Pensions Board Establishment Bill 2023, first reading. Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill 2023, first reading. Digital Television Services Pay-Per-View Subscription Bill 2023, first reading. Armed Forces Act Amendment Bill 2023, first reading. Criminal Code Act Amendment Bill 2023, first reading. Chartered Institute of Public Management of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2023, first reading. National Youth Service Corps Trust Fund Establishment Bill 2023, first reading. Ministry of Finance Incorporated Act Repeal and Enactment Bill 2023, first reading. Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill 2023, first reading. Administration of Criminal Justice Act Amendment Bill 2023, first reading. Examination Malpractices Act Amendment Bill 2023, first reading. National Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill 2023, first reading. Flag and Coats of Arms Act Amendment Bill 2023, first reading. Regulatory Body of Organ Harvesting, Transplanting and Donation Establishment Bill 2023, first reading. People's Bank of Nigeria Act Repeal Bill 2023, first reading. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2023, first reading. Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2023, first reading. Federal College of Agricultural Technology, ABA, Akwa Ibom State Establishment Bill 2023, first reading.
Honorable colleagues, the second business of the day is presentation of report of the Committee on Public Service Matters on a bill for an act to amend to make provisions for the retirement age for staff of National Assembly Service and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Sani Umar Bala. Honorable members recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Tuesday, 24th October 2023. The report is ready for presentation. Honorable Bala is hereby invited to present the report. Honorable, you have no move. It has to be accepted, seconded. Have you taken breakfast this morning?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Engineer Sanu Bala, representing Sanyawa Kunchi Federal Constituency from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to seek for your permission to lay the report. The report is titled, A Bill for an Act to make provisions for the retirement age of staff of the National Assembly Service and for related matters. I so move.
Any seconder? Honorable Inua.
Mr. Speaker, sir, my fellow colleagues, I am Right Honorable Inua Garba, member representing Yamatu Deba Federal Constituency. I am from Gombe State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague that it should be allowed to lay the report of the committee that was vested with this responsibility. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable, please proceed and lay your report. The first order of the day is the commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to make provisions for Landscape Architect Registration Council of Nigeria, charged with the registration and regulation of landscape architects in Nigeria and for related matters, standing in the names of Honorable Benjamin Okezikalu and 6 others. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 19th November 2023, and now invite Honorable Kalu to move that the bill be read for the second time.
Your Excellency, the Speaker of the 10th Assembly, honorable colleagues, my name is Benjamin Okezikalu. I represent the people of Nigeria starting from Bende Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, this morning I rise to seek the leave of Mr. Speaker and the House to enable one of the sponsors of the bill, Honorable Kem Kama, to lead the second reading of this bill, if you so permit, Mr. Speaker.
Please go ahead. Honorable Kama, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Kama and Kem Kama is my name. I represent the awesome people of Ohozara, Onitsha, and Igbo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Ebonyi State. Mr. Speaker, this is a bill of an act to establish the Landscape Architects Registration Council of Nigeria, charged with the registration and regulation of landscape architects in Nigeria and for other matters connected therewith. This bill is sponsored by our leader, Honorable Benjamin Okezie Ibazu. Honorable Benjamin Okezie Kalu, the beautiful Deputy Speaker of the 10th Assembly, Honorable Abubakar Hetnal Araba, Honorable Patrick Umar, Honorable Chris Nkwanta, Honorable Steve Olushola Fatoba, Honorable Joseph Basi, Honorable Usman Ahmed Jaha, Honorable Mohammed B. El Rufai, and my humble self, Honorable Kama and Kem Kama. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleague, with the leave of our leader, my leader, the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Benjamin Okezie Kalu, I'm honored to lead a debate on the general principles of this important bill, which seeks to provide for the establishment of the Landscape Architects Registration Council of Nigeria, charged with the registration and regulation of landscape architects profession in Nigeria. The bill was read the first time in this hallowed chamber.
Sorry, you have to move first. Let it be seconded.
Sorry, please.
And then you can lead the debate.
So I hereby...
Oh, you have not taken breakfast too? Eh?
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I hereby move that this bill for an act to establish the Landscape Architect Regional Council of Nigeria charged with the registration and regulation of landscape architects in Nigeria and for other matters connected therewith be read for the second time. I so move. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Yes, Honorable Patrick.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Dr. Patrick Kumar. I represent the entire people of Ikorekwene, the Sienudum, Oborokara Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Akwa Ibom State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by the co-sponsor of this bill, Kama Nkem Kama. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Kama, please lead the debate.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker, Iya Zazau, and honorable colleagues. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Landscape Architects Regional Council of Nigeria charged with the registration and regulation of landscape architects in Nigeria.
Professor Lillian,
and
do
for
you
other
have the
matters
permission of the chair to leave?
connected therewith.
Please, can you go back and sit down?
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm honored to lead a debate on the general principles of this important bill, which seeks to provide for the establishment of Landscape Architect Regional Council of Nigeria, charged with the registration of and regulation of landscape architect professions in Nigeria. The bill was read the first time in this hallowed chamber on Thursday, 19th October 2023. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, landscape architecture, contrary to common notions of just planting flowers, addressed a host of complex issues around socio-ecological resilience, the nexus of people, land, water, and biomass. Landscape architecture develops concepts on how to mitigate, cope with, and adapt to extreme environmental phenomena, as well as turning the trajectory of the way development is understood in an ever-changing climate. The need for the Landscape Architectural Regional Council of Nigeria, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the role and contribution of landscape architecture include the creation of an image of the Nigerian landscape through the implication of contemporary environmental design principles.
Yes, what's the point of order?
My name is Architect Dr. Asima Achado. I represent the good people of Gwe West Federal Constituency of Benue State. Order 9, Rule 1. A member shall not read his speech, save if he is moving a motion or presenting a bill. A member shall, however, read short extracts from books or papers in support of his argument. I may refresh his memory by reference to notes. So he was not supposed to read verbatim, Honorable Speaker. He's my good friend, but I caught him reading verbatim.
Thank you, Honorable colleague. Your point of order is noted. Honorable Kama, you are guided accordingly. Please continue.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For a point of correction, my dear colleague, okay. The need for that Landscape Architectural Regional Council of Nigeria, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the role and contribution of landscape architecture include the creation of image of the Nigerian landscape through the application of contemporary environmental design principles and practices, along with the traditional use of open spaces and integrating indigenous art with the modern concept of landscape planning. Landscape architecture, which is an integral part of our infrastructure market, contribute significantly to the aesthetic and functional aspect of our public and private spaces and facilities. Recognizing the paramount importance of practice of landscape architecture in the built environment and the overall economy, it becomes imperative to provide a regulatory framework registration and regulation of professionals in this regard to promote competence, professionalism, and ethical conduct of individuals engaged in the practice of landscape architecture. Key provisions of the bill, Mr. Speaker, the bill which seeks to establish the Landscape Architecture Registration Council of Nigeria comprises of 23 sections divided into 5 parts and 1 schedule as a schedule aims at determining who landscape architects are for the purpose of this bill. B, determining the standards of knowledge and skills